Hi, and welcome to this tutorial in ArcGis Pro, where we will look at how we can use Python to manage messy and inconsistent data. So I encountered this problem in my work when I had to create a map showing the type of trench that was observed when a pipe had gone to failure. So if we look at the attribute table, we have a lot of text data, and in each of these there exists some information about what type of trench that was observed. So we have this one, which is when there's bedrock, and this one when there's a soily trench, and we have some other combinations. And if we look closely, we can see that some places we have uppercase and some places we have lowercase. So we have to accommodate for a lot of different combinations. So this was the challenge. So I need to create a new column where I can store this information. So we're going to first create our column here, and I'm just going to call it type and set it to text data. And now I will save this edit so that my attribute table has a new column which is called type, and it's in this column that I want to do a calculation or do some logic in order to extract only the essential information I want from my messy, inconsistent data. So I'm going to right click here and click calculate field. And I'm going to expand this one because we will need some space. So we can see that we have expression type Python. So we can use the Python syntax in a code block here to do whatever we want, basically. So how this works is that we write our code in the code block, and then we can utilize our code here because it says type equals, and we have the type column here. So this is the type column. So I can use the logic I defined here in my code block and use the fields that exist in my data. So we have the description field here, the descript, and I want to use that in a function to get the information for each row here. And I want to return the value that I want to place in my type column. So we're going to do this, I'm going to write it out so we can see the logic being created from scratch. So we're going to define a function that we will use here. So I'm going to type define type trench, and I'm just going to call the variable that we will accept as comment, because this is in a way a comment that was observed when the pipe had gone to failure. And I want to have some possibilities, because even though the data is messy and inconsistent, there is something that we want to extract. So we have to have a possibility list here. And I'm just gonna, so we have this one, this one, this one, and this one, which are possibilities that we can find in our messy data. And for your data, yours could be different, but then you just change it to whatever you want to extract from your messy text data. And now we're going to do an if statement. So if there is a comment, meaning that the field is not empty, we will have to create a list of the text elements. And here we want to create and divide the text elements into separate entities, separated by the comma. So I'm going to use the split function in Python. So I'm going to use the comment, and I'm going to say dot split, and I want to split it by the comma. So I could write some explanation here, splitting each text element in the comment by the comma. or something like that. It's always good to explain what your code is doing. And now we're going to loop through each elements in each row. So we're going to do for element in the, I can just copy and paste in this one, the variable we just created. So this for loop will do for element in this new list that we created here. So for example, for this one, we will have this as an element, this as an element, and this as an element in an array. And we will access each of these text elements by looping through it using this element here. And now I want to accommodate for white spaces. So I will do another if statement to capture what I want. So I'm going to do if element dot strip because I want to remove the white spaces. If you're unsure about the Python syntax, you just have to search it up or get familiar with Python. One key here is that you can use ChatGPT to do whatever logic you need. You just have to type, I want a Python code to do this. I have this data set. Can you make a function that returns this for me? Then ChatGPT will most likely create that function perfectly, more perfect than the code I have written here. So moving on, and I want to have the dot lower Python syntax because, as I said previously, some have lowercase starting with a lowercase. Some have uppercase for the text element that we want to extract. So we have to accommodate for this. So by using dot lower, we will make everything lowercase. And now I want to say in this if statement that if the text element is in my possibilities here, then I want to return this element. Because this element is in my possibilities and I want that. This is my goal, to get this into my type column here. So I want to then return this if the condition is satisfied. So now we have basically written out the logic in order to extract the text element that we want for our type column. But just in case, I created the this data set so that one row doesn't have anything in the possibilities. So we have to accommodate for that. So I'm going to go to the line here and I want to say return no data. This means that if we go through these if statements and nothing is satisfied or nothing is found, then we will return no data because there are nothing that satisfies our possibilities here. So now we have written out our code block, our logic. So now we have to use this for the type equals here, or for the column names. What will be the value for each row in this type column? So I'm going to use the function I just defined, and I called each of these comment, but the field name is the script. So I'm gonna grab this one, double click it, and I'm gonna end the parenthesis here. So this means that the type trench function will take for each row, this one will be set in as input for the type trench function, and the output will be placed for the same row here in the type column. And if we get a match here, for example, this one will be placed here. But if we don't have a match, as in this last row, you can see there's not a match for our possibilities, then no data will be displayed here. So this is the logic, how we create the Python function in our code block, and how we can use the functions to set the values for each row in another column. So if I click on apply, that was really fast actually. So you can see that everything is lowercase, and you can see that it's grabbing everything that we want. So this one, it's a uppercase here, but we have defined that everything will be lowercase in the return. You could do it otherwise if you want to have it uppercase, but this is how I solved it for my case. And we see that in the last one, there's no match in our possibilities. So I'm just going to return no data as defined in our function here. So this is basically it. And again, I just want to emphasize that use ChatGPT to, if you have other data, other unique problems in your data set that you have to solve with Python in order to extract information to make your data coherent, use ChatGPT, because you just have to type, I need this and my data looks like this, and I want in the end to have this product or this end result, and you will most likely get what you need. So, but it's good to see how it is done in practice when you define your function here and how you use it in order to set the values in your data field or in your attribute table. So that's it for this tutorial. If you liked the video, it would mean a lot if you hit that subscribe button and like the video. I'll see you in the next video, and take care.